How are you doing, folks? This is the Pop Music Freak. I'm back with another song facts countdown video. I'm counting down my 1,000 favorite songs of all time, and we're up to number 803 on my list. Say hello to Sparky back there. Bye bye. All right. The song is by a group from New Jersey, Jersey City, band called Kool The Gang. They've been around a long, long time. By the time this song came along, they had formed around 1966 and had their first entries on the R&B and pop charts around 1969. In fact, their first single that charted was the name of their band, and I'm talking about, of course, Kool and the Gang. But they didn't really hit tremendously. I mean, they had a few pretty good R&B songs, early 70s. Then suddenly they hit around 1973 with Funky Stuff and Jungle Boogie and Hollywood Swinging. Of course, I'm talking about Kool and the Gang. Had their first run of very, very funky early disco sounding songs through Open Sesame, which first time around wasn't a big hit, but one was included in the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. That changed things. That got people to notice this band again. Then around 1979, they brought in a new singer named James J.T. Taylor, and the band really started taking off at that point with the release of the album Ladies Night. They had Ladies Night and Too Hot. Late 79 into early 1980, they started hitting pop and R&B. And at the end of 1980, they put out this song that took them all the way to the top. I'm talking about pop number one. And I'm talking about Celebration. The song was released in the fall of 1980, around October. Took a while to climb up the charts, but by early February, it was number one on the pop chart. Now I'm going to explain to you events in the world that may have pushed this song a little bit further, got it a lot more plays on the radio, and I'm sure a bunch more sales as well. But let me get into the details of the song for you, alright? Celebration is a 1980 song by the American band Kool and the Gang, released as the first single from their 12th album, Celebrate. It was the band's only number one single on the Billboard Hot 100, though they would hit number two times after the fact. 1984's Joanna and 1985's Cherish both hit number 2 on the pop chart. This was the only number 1. 2021, the Library of Congress selected Celebration for preservation in the National Recording Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. I think it might have been all three. Even though its timing, some will say, oh man, it was too late for disco. Other people say this was the last great disco song, Celebration. And I kind of agree with that. It was a great song. Now, the basic questions. Who wrote the song? Well, go get a lunch, because it's going to take a while to give you the names of everyone that's credited for writing the song. You got Ronald Nathan Bell, Cletus Charles Smith, George Melvin Brown, James J.T. Taylor, Robert Spike Mickens, Earl Eugene Toone Jr., Dennis Ronald Thomas, Robert Earl Bell, and the guy that produced a lot of their work from about 1976 on, Eumir Deodato, was the producer. Now, those of you that are really into pop music and know the songs and know the history, know the names, Eumir Deodato wasn't just a great R&B producer, funk producer that made Kool and the Gang larger than life. He did his own stuff. 2001: A Space Odyssey, his version of that is unbelievable. And that was the number 2 hit in 1973. It's not in my top 1,000, but it's just I want to recognize the man, because he did some great early disco music as well. Anyway, origins. Co-founder Ronald Bell, group saxophonist and musical arranger, explained the origins of the song. The initial idea came from the Quran. I was reading the passage where God was creating Adam, and the angels were celebrating and singing praises. That inspired me to write the basic chords. The line, everyone around the world, come on, celebration. Composition. Celebration is in the key of A, in common time, and was written as a collaboration by the whole band. Song moves at a tempo of 123 beats per minute. The group's vocals span from A to E. Commercial performance. Okay, so we have several reasons why several things converge to make this song even bigger than it was probably supposed to be. But number one is number one. It reached number one on February 7th, 1981, and held that position for 2 weeks before Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 overtook it. It knocked The Tide Is High by Blondie out of number one. By late 1980, the song had also reached number one on both the Billboard Dance and R&B charts. The song was featured heavily on the radio throughout the end of 1980 and particularly in January of 81. Why? Well, let's just say something went on in the world. There were 52 American hostages being held in Iran, and they purposely held it until the end of Jimmy Carter's administration. In fact, the day that Ronald Reagan was inaugurated, January 20th, 1981, was the day they released the hostages. And, of course, a lot of people found reason to celebrate that event of them finally being free. And the radio started playing the living crap out of celebration, although it was already in the top 10 and making a move towards the top. But that event, this song was nonstop on the radio for the next month. After that, TV, news stories would be playing the song, "The hostages are home, every hostages are free." And that was the perfect song to play to honor that event. So that's what happened. That explains in a way why it really got a boost to number one. And it went platinum. It sold 2 million copies in the USA. I'm not saying it's not a really good song. I wouldn't have included it in my top 1,000 if I didn't think it was a really good song. And it's their biggest hit, and it deserved to be, for sure. Just wanted to make that clear. All right, and then also became, of course, a wedding song, a party song, early 80s, popular anthem for sporting events. St. Louis Cardinals made it their theme song in 1982, and they ended up winning the World Series that year. Coincidence? Maybe. You be the judge. All right, and it also was a hit outside the U.S. It was a hit number 7 in the U.K. in November 1980, and that was a country where they generally were not having too many hits, or their songs were not getting very high in the charts. Quiet, kitty. So, and going over it once again, it's one of the few songs that hit number one on pop, dance, and R&B. Hit number 34 on the adult contemporary chart. Hit number one on Cashbox, number one on Record World, number one in New Zealand, number one in Canada, number 2 in the Netherlands and South Africa. For the year, it ranked number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 1981. In Cashbox, it was number 10 for the year. In Canada, it was number 9 for the year. Certifications, I'll mention again, it sold 2 million copies in the USA, certified platinum. Platinum in Canada, 150,000 copies, gold in Denmark, silver in the UK. 1987, a band called Dragon remade the song, and it hit number 11 in Australia. Kylie Minogue covered the song in 1992, and it did pretty well as well. In the UK, it hit number 20. In Ireland, it hit number 11. Did not chart in the USA. It's been a famous song, a history-making song for Kool The Gang. In my own personal experience, graduating from 8th grade, elementary school in 1983, members of my class started singing, "Celebrate good times." So that's helped it stick in my mind a little further. That was a fun memory, for sure. All right, so that's it. Those are the song facts I have for you for Kool The Gang Celebration, number 803 on my top 1,000 list. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. And next time you want to celebrate something, you might want to thank Iran. Just kidding. All right. Please like the video, please share the video, please subscribe to the channel, and hit that darn bell. This way you know more of my videos are coming out, all right? So that you can either watch them with great joy or avoid them like the plague. Your choice. All right, my friends, thank you so much. I wish you peace and love.